Did you make the coffee yet?
Senator Kirkpatrick, how are you doing this morning?
I am doing very well. How about you?
Oh, I can't complain. On a beautiful day like this, a little cloudy, but it's kind of nice, isn't it?
I hope you're not skipping class to talk to me.
It would be totally worth it though if I was. I gotta say, you're great company. We've had some good conversations off camera so far.
Absolutely.
How are things going?
We're still in recovery mode from the session, and I have to say it was a great session. We got a lot of good legislation passed, but it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And so I'm very happy that it's over.
Well, I saw a picture with the session being over, and it's like papers flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what that is?
That's a whole kindergarten thing of where about 11 o'clock people start tearing up all the different colored pieces of paper because we have a lot of paper down there.
Yeah.
We kill a lot of trees during the session.
No.
And when the lieutenant governor, who's the president of the Senate, talks with the speaker and they agreed to adjourn, he says, "The Senate stands adjourned, sine die," hits the gavel, and then everybody throws all the paper in the air. And I feel really sorry for the cleaning crew that has to come in and pick all that paper up.
Oh, it's so sad. But I imagine it's also one of those things where it's kind of fun. There's something to be said about tradition.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. There's a lot of tradition down there, things that have been done the same way for hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years.
So I don't argue with tradition, but I also think that we have to move into the future. And so
of course.
I don't like all the paper everywhere. I'd rather we use technology that we have
yes.
this decade.
Kind of updating some things, right?
Right, exactly.
I love it. We were kind of talking about my career in the military because you serve on the committee there as well, for the Veterans Committee.
I
and
do.
In the Marine Corps, it is very important to keep with tradition. But we also do have a tendency to update our traditions with more, kind of up-to-date methods. So yeah, perhaps there is a place for it.
Yeah, I certainly come from a military background. My whole family are veterans. And I actually have now signed up for the Georgia State Defense Force, which I may not have mentioned to you, which is a volunteer Army group that serves with the National Guard.
No kidding. I think I saw them. I was at the Big Shanty Festival on Saturday.
So I'll be a captain because I'm a physician, and so that's my entry rank. But I have to finish my IET before I'll get commissioned.
Wow.
But I work a lot on behalf of veterans and our military, and was lucky enough to be appointed by Governor Kemp to represent Dobbins on the State Joint Defense Commission. So we travel around to the different bases and we talk about how to, one, protect our bases, but also how to make Georgia the most military-friendly state in the country. And we have done a lot to move that ball over the last 5 years.
I've got to say, Senator, as a person, and I've told you this, just recently I got out of the Marine Corps. And I'm starting to progress into the civilian world. I have noticed Georgia is a fairly accommodating place when it comes to, helping out the veteran, helping them get started. Even KSU itself has programs that are kind of set up to help us out.
You may know that Thursday there's going to be a ribbon cutting for something called the Vector Center, which is a transition center for veterans coming out to help them get situated with education, employment, or whatever. It's going to be at Chattahoochee Tech.
No kidding.
At 9 o'clock Thursday morning.
No kidding?
You should come.
I would love to come. That'd be so great.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Now, I would like to discuss something, because not only did you perform your duties during the session, but you are also campaigning as well.
I am.
Now, how is that going?
We run every 2 years.
Yes.
Even in the Senate, which some of us think should be longer. But so you're basically always campaigning, because to me, campaigning means showing up. And it means going to everything in my district where I can learn what my constituents are thinking, what they're interested in, and they need to see their elected officials. There are a lot of my friends who show up a campaign season, but then they kind of disappear after that. And I've never viewed it that way, because it's important to me to really know what's going on in my district. And my district's totally new to me this year, because with maps being redrawn, about 76% of my voters are new to me.
Wow, 76%.
Yeah. So I've got a different part of Cobb County than I've always had, which has been East Cobb. And half my district's now Cherokee County.
Wow.
So it's a big change, but I'm happy about it. I'm meeting a lot of new people that are great that I probably wouldn't have run into otherwise.
Well, you know, Senator, there's something to say about, you know, meeting new things and embracing those new things, right? And then going forward with them. I gotta say, one of the most fun things I've had, you know, in terms of like door knocking, campaigning,
Yes.
etc., is meeting people. It is meeting people and understanding that as a representative, it is your job to keep up with these people and keep up with what they may be grieving about, what they may be disagreeing with you or agreeing with you about. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yes, and in fact, people still walk up to me and say, hey, you knocked on my door in 2017. But I try to respond to people, and people don't always agree with me or what I do or don't do. But if they're in my district and they send me a personal message or call, I respond because that's my job, right? So I do have a primary campaign that I'm running right now, which is a lot of work just because my district is so new. And then, of course, I'll have a general election in the fall if I survive the primary. So,
the story of a lot of people's lives right now.
Yeah,
you know?
you got to kind of do one thing at a time. And so that's why I'm so relieved that we're out of the session finally, so that I can get back out in my district and do what I need to do.
So what are you going to be doing, you know, post-campaigning and with the session being done? I suppose you're probably going to focus more on going out and meeting these folks and everything. What is a message that you're trying to convey to them right now?
Well, you know, I work a lot on policy because that's fun. I work on it all year. So I'm already starting to think about what I want to do next year.
Yeah.
And my priorities really haven't changed since I first started running back in 2017. Making Georgia a healthier place, a safer place, and looking out for our veteran and military community and everybody else that wears a uniform and sticks their neck out for us every single day.
Yeah.
So those are kind of how I focus my legislative priorities. And my bills this year were, we had a great session, by the way, but my bills, I had one on insurance transparency for consumers. I had one that helps our rural hospitals with their postgraduate residency programs. And then I had one that is a tuition reimbursement for military personnel that are coming out and want to do basic law enforcement training.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, we passed the military retiree tax exemption this year, which was great. We passed campus free speech this year. Super important.
It is.
We did a pretty sizable tax cut, and then we passed a lot of conservative legislation.
Well, you know, Senator, let's talk about the campus free speech, because even tonight we've actually got a debate between the Young Democrats as well as the Democratic Socialists, which is going to be an interesting thing. So campus free speech is actually a really interesting thing. Can you explain that to us a little bit?
Well, there was the campus free speech zones that have been in place for quite a while.
Yes.
Won't exist now that we passed this bill because free speech is in our Constitution. You should be able to be anywhere, on campus, off campus, and be able to speak your mind.
Real quick, Riley, can you just pan over towards the green in this area here? So this, Senator, this is our quote-unquote campus free speech zone. So with the bill being in place, you're basically telling us, like, you know, everywhere is free speech.
You don't have to be on the green to speak your mind, which is, you know, it's in the Constitution for crying out loud.
I totally understand that.
As long as people are peaceful, I think that's, we're just following what our Constitution says.
Yeah.
So I think that was an important piece of legislation.
I love it. Well, for the last little question I've got for you. So for conservatives here on campus who have a tendency, and I've seen this as they've, you know, reached out to the college Republicans, they're nervous. They're nervous about joining in and being conservative in general and being open with that here on campus. Do you have any words that you would like to tell them?
Yeah, I think it's really important that the people are not afraid. We just added to our pledge, or to the Georgia flag, the principles of the Georgia Constitution: wisdom, justice, moderation, and this year we added courage.
Yes.
And so that's important, but really the more people there are that stand together, the less intimidating it is. And so if we can get everybody to come out of the woodwork and stand together, that is strong. And I understand the atmosphere and the divisiveness and some of the even violence, but young people sometimes can listen to a teacher or a professor that may undo what their parents have been teaching them their whole life, so that's one thing. But the other thing is, people need to understand the government is not the answer to all of our problems. And you can look at the VA as a great example of what happens when the government takes over health care for veterans. It doesn't work out so great. And so I think the free market principles that the Republican Party has always stood for are super important, and it's important when people get out of school and they're in business and whatever profession they want to do. But I think it's important to, one person at a time, make the case and pull people together and get them to come out of their shell and join up with other people and know that they'll be safe.
Wow. Thank you so much, Senator. Thank you for coming today as well,
Absolutely.
by the way. I enjoyed it.
My pleasure.
All right. Have a good one.